Welcome back, everybody, to another Big Bad Review. I'm Cam with the Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Rewatch podcast. Today we're looking at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Pink Ranger 2-pack. This is the... exclusive's not the right word. It's the 2-pack. It's the 2-pack that includes the two Kat Hillard, played by Catherine Sutherland, and I am going to mix those names up constantly because Kat plays Kat, and that's, I'm going to mix those up. So this is featuring both of her appearances, her first two appearances. She had three different Rangers, sorry. Zeo Pink and Mighty Morphin Pink. So this is basically, I think so far at the time of recording, the only way to get the Zeo Pink Ranger is in this 2-pack, or presumably, I guess, if someone was selling it separately from this pack. But I don't think Hasbro has released Zeo Pink by herself at this point, and I think maybe the metallic armor Pink Ranger has a Kat Hillard alternate head, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm pretty sure this is the only the only way currently to get Zeo Pink. A huge shout out to the Retro Zone in Overland Park, Kansas, over in Overland Park. I was 100% not planning on getting this 2-pack. I had kind of resigned myself to just not getting Zeo Pink. I know I've got the COG 2-pack, Zeo Red and Zeo Yellow now. Thanks, obviously, to some generous gifts from friends. But I had not really planned on throwing money at this 2-pack. It is significantly more expensive, usually in the aftermarket, than any of the single Rangers. It's not going up on sale on Hasbro anytime soon. It's out of stock on Hasbro Pulse, but thankfully Retro Zone set me up, and they had this set available, and I was able to make a little trade and snag it for basically no cost to myself, because I traded them in some stuff I had laying around. So yeah, huge shout out to the Retro Zone again. But this is a really fun pack. This is my first Mighty Morphin Lightning Collection Ranger that I have. Probably not the one that I would have gone with if I was eyeing to get a Mighty Morphin Ranger. I think I probably would go with like the remastered blue or green Ranger that's coming out right now, just because I really like the way that those looked after they were announced right before the 30th. But yeah, I dig this set so far, just looking at it in the box. It does come with a little white cat figure, a literal like CAT, like kitten figure from Kat's famous or infamous, depending on how you feel about it, first appearance, where she was also under a spell from Rita, a la Tommy. And she could transform into a cat to spy on the Power Rangers. I never realized how fitting it is that her and Tommy were both under a spell from Rita, and then ended up together. But, what do you know? So yeah, this has actually two different cat head sculpts. It has a pigtail... Whoop, there we go. Not pigtail, ponytail version. We'll get a better look at that when I get it out of the box. But it's got a ponytail with a slightly different face, expression, and then it's got with her hair down, and I don't know, maybe more of a smile on it. They're both very, accurate head sculpts, especially after just watching the 30th Once and Always special on Netflix a few different times now, actually. It definitely looks like Catherine Sutherland, and just like the other head sculpts that I've seen with the two other Zeo sets, looks great. I don't display them with the unmorphed human head sculpts on, just because I think it it's not my vibe, but I'm glad that they look good. Right out the gate, one thing that I can tell, at least with the Mighty Morphin Pink, is that there are some color discrepancies in the paint in the pink. So the body looks like it has a little bit of a darker pink. The helmet, the forearms, and the legs look like they have a lighter pink. Zeo looks great. Again, it's they both have the female base sculpt for Mighty Morphin and for Zeo. Of course, Pink having the skirt on both. And I'm a little concerned with what the posability is going to be like, because Zeo Yellow had a lot of difficulties compared to the Cogs and Red and Tommy in terms of posability. So we will see how that goes when we crack this one open. This will be a little bit of a longer review, just because there's more in this. You can see all the accessories, alternate hands. Again, if a ranger has white gloves, they will almost undoubtedly be able to swap hands. So the hands that are available for Mighty Morphin are just as usable for Zeo and vice versa. You can see the Zeo, the power disc, power shield, power disc I think is the right word, and then the power bow, which actually has the little arrow. I don't know if the original releases of Mighty Morphin Pink came with that arrow or not. Also comes with a blade blaster in blaster form. It doesn't come with it in blade and sword form, sadly. Comes with the Zeo blaster and the Zeo blade, and then I'm not 100% sure what kind of blast effect that is, but a little purple blast effect over here and a little greenish yellow blast effect over here that goes on the end of either of the blasters. I think they both have the blast effect port on the end. I love the box art, as always. Lightning Collection box art kills it. 9 times out of 10, always looking great. Minimalist back of the box again, same way with the previous ones. This is definitely a render and not a photograph of the figures. I've noticed some of the earlier ones have that, where you can tell a little bit just by the sheen on the silver of the weapons, the way that the belts lay, the way that they're kind of posed and standing, and the way that the heads are kind of tilted a little bit. This is 100% a 3D render, which is fine. It's all right. I do prefer when the photos on a toy box are the toy themselves. I think there's a little bit too much potential for not false advertising per se, but a discrepancy between a final render of a toy in like the 3D and the actual final product you get on the shelf, especially knowing Hasbro, the amount of QC problems we've had with Lightning Collection and Transformers and other lines lately. I'm a little bit concerned with that, but I think it's going to be all right. So, without too much further ado, I think we're ready to dive right into this. So let's go ahead and, of course, we're just going to Zeo. Okay. Welcome back. And, all right, we've got Kat out of the box to give a quick glance over. Right out the gate, I've noticed a few QC issues, but we'll get to those when we get to them. I think we're going to start with Mighty Morphin because A, I've not looked at a Mighty Morphin Lightning Collection figure before, and B, it was Kat's first appearance. So let's go ahead and go over just kind of a quick look through. There's a few little spots where there is some paint missteps. You can kind of see on the diamond there. It actually, there's the white on the diamond here on her right, our left, is a brighter, more opaque white, and then it's kind of more faded in the middle and her left. That's not a huge thing. That's just kind of a slight paint app thing that I've noticed. You can't, well, I have horrible eyesight. I can't tell from like the distance that I would have it up on a shelf. The Morpher's a pretty good detail, although the black paint is pretty poorly applied for the kind of lightning bolts there. That's not great, but it is what it is. I've seen worse for sure. And then the helmet actually has, I think, really good paint application all the way around. It's got some great kind of panel lining. Panel lining is not the right word. I've been working on too many Gunpla. But it's got some great kind of details and inset lining. Obviously, there is still kind of the seam in the middle, but that works because, that's how actual Power Ranger helmets work. Like I was saying when she was still in the box, there is a little bit of a color difference, and I think it's coming across on the camera a little bit, but it might not be coming across as much. The torso and skirt are a little bit of a darker, deeper pink. The upper arms are lighter, and then the forearms are even lighter, especially just this little bit right here where it's painted over white, and you can actually see where it's kind of not fully painted to the cuff on the forearm. And then the same way with the legs. The legs are a much brighter pink compared to like the torso. And then the helmet matches more the arms and legs than it does the torso as well. So the torso pink actually looks more like Zeo Pink, which is a little bit darker. And I think even in the show and stuff like that, it was a little bit of a darker pink material. But posability, actually before we do that, in the packaging, the holster for the Blade Blaster was kind of stuck out like this. There's a little bit of the plastic that in the packaging that forced it to stand out like that. And now it's just kind of sticking out. So I would need to like soak this in hot water, or I'd be super hesitant to take a hairdryer to it, but I think soaking it in hot water and then just kind of holding it, maybe even taking some kind of a chip clip or a light clamp to just keep it there, would keep it down. It's not a huge thing. It just looks a little bit wonky to have it kind of sticking way out like that, especially if you're going to put the Blade Blaster in it. It will kind of go down, but the Blade Blasters don't fit great in this holster. It is kind of awkward and sticks way up towards the armpit, but it is what it is. So, going into posability, same posability as Zeo Yellow. It's essentially the same mold, just with different detailing. Yeah, there's really nothing different about it. I think maybe the skirt split might be a little different, but beyond that, it's really just up to the head sculpt. So you've got this inner shoulder chest joint here, lets the arm move out and in a little bit, and then the shoulder moves up to a 90 and down flat. Does actually sit flat on here, and then the elbow can rotate 360, and then on Mighty Morphin Pink I don't have a problem, but the elbow here bends a little bit past the 90. Actually is a really smooth joint. Does look a little awkward when it's fully stretched out because it does bend a little bit double jointed backwards, but that's okay. And then because the hands are swappable, they've got 360, and then they also can bend forward, but they don't like to, and back, but they don't like to. It's just a very tight joint on some of the hands I've noticed. And then obviously same on the other side. Head can turn 360 on the helmet. I get a little bit of a look up and a little bit of a look down, and then a pretty solid straight on. Upper torso can bend probably 360, but I'm not going to push it just so I don't rub paint the wrong way. And then can go back and then forward a little bit, and then there's kind of a mid torso waist that can go back a little bit and forward a little bit for some dynamic posing, I suppose. Legs Same posability as always, but you can kind of see because of the skirt, you're going to get some problems. Not going to be able to do the splits. Not going to be able to do great high kicks, although the splits in the skirt here up at the legs on the side do help a little bit. And I think if I got some action figure bases, some standees that they sell on Amazon for pretty damn cheap, honestly, I'm probably going to snag some because I do get tired of accidentally bumping my Lightning Collection shelf and they all domino over each other. But I think just having that, you would be able to get some pretty good kicks because of that split there and the fact that Mighty Morphin only has one holster on one side rather than two. You do get 360 on the upper thighs, and then the knees. These are really tight joints, which I prefer, I think, on the knees, although bending it forward after you've bent it back feels like you're going to snap the plastic, which is a little bit concerning. And then that upper part of the knee is a really, really tight joint. So if you're getting some like bended knee poses of some kind, that's gonna stick as long as you can balance it or you have a stand. 360 on the calf right at the upper boot. And then the ankle bends backwards, bends forwards, and then kind of pivots, doesn't rotate, just pivots. And obviously same on the other side. Mighty Morphin Pink, I've actually had some easy luck getting to stand up. I've not had a problem with that. Zeo, I'm having the same problem I had with Zeo Yellow, which I think is probably a shared mold problem versus Mighty Morphin Pink, and then presumably the other iterations of Mighty Morphin Pink. Hopefully the remasters and such have improved upon that, but hey, you never know. Now, let's go ahead and check out that head sculpt. So we're just going to real quick. There we go. Always nervous about popping those heads off. Let's take a real quick look at Kat's Mighty Morphin appearance head. Nice little smile on there. Again, paint apps on the head here are great. The hair looks great. I really have no complaints with the head sculpt. I really don't have any complaints with any of the head sculpts I've gotten so far. Yeah, and then just a little, I say a little, it does take a little bit of effort. There we go, hear that. And then because of the hair, you don't get a ton of the, actually you probably could get the full 360. I'm just super worried about paint chipping of any kind. Not paint chipping, but paint rubbing. The paint application I'm now noticing around the collar is kind of sketch. It's just a really rough line, but that's okay. It's not, the end of the world. That's not the end of the world, but it does stand out a little bit. Just to me, I don't think, you can't tell from a shelf, and I don't think you would notice, I don't think other people would probably notice. I think it's probably just me. But yeah, I think the head sculpt looks great. Both pinks came in the box with their gun holding hands, so you can have her hold the blade blaster. Just like any other blaster weapon that the Lightning Collection Rangers hold, it's a little bit annoying and tricky to get held in the hand, even though the hand is clearly made to hold a blaster. But for whatever reason, it becomes a little tricky. Now, one of those reasons is because with Mighty Morphin Pink specifically, she is also meant to hold both the power bow and the arrow. And let's just take a quick look just at the power bow, because this is designed to form the power blaster, the big weapon, which sadly we didn't see in the Once and Always special, but it is what it is. But you can see little grips here where it would click into like the power sword and the power axe. and the Lance and Psy, I think is what Trinies are called. But yeah, so if you did collect all of the Mighty Morphin figures that came with their power weapons, I don't remember if they all came with the power weapons or not, but if you did, they do combine. You can have the Power Blaster. I've seen some really good photos coming out of people who have done that, who have collected them all. And I know some of the remasters and stuff have been even better about including basically just being chock full of accessories and such. I do think the remastered Pink that was just recently announced comes with the pretty sure it comes with not just the arrow and power blaster, but also a blast effect of some kind. And you can see here, you can actually have her hold the arrow. You got to kind of line it up a little bit, but you can have her hold the arrow between a couple fingers because those are separated. And so you can have her look like she's getting ready to fire an arrow. Pretty solid accessory. I really dig it. I definitely think I will be displaying Mighty Morphin with the power bow just because I do prefer it over the just the blade blaster or like the karate hands. So the way they had it packaged, they had Mighty Morphin and Zeo both coming with either the right or left fist or karate chop open hand. Again, they're perfectly swappable. There's nothing stopping you from interchanging those. Now, this blast effect, I don't think it will work at all on the Blade Blaster. It was packaged on Kat's side of the box, but because the Blade Blaster doesn't actually have, it looks like it has the nub to plug into the back of the blast effect, but it's not there enough to actually fit the blast effect over the top of it. So you can't use the blast effect with the Blade Blaster, which is just, it's unfortunate. It's just kind of one more knock against, I guess, the early accessories for Lightning Collection stuff, because I do think this is more or less the accessories that the first Mighty Morphin Pink came with. I might be wrong, but pretty sure that's semi-accurate of a statement. Now let's look at the white cat the feline, the kitten figure. Stands up all right if you're careful. I will probably not be displaying this up on my shelf just because, honestly, I don't know if I have enough room, and you can't see it from where my shelf is positioned, so it would be a little low to the ground. I don't think I would do it. Just has plain green eyes, no pupils, and no paint application whatsoever other than the green eyes. So no pink pads on the paws, no nose, no pink ears, nothing like that. Just a plain white plastic cat with little green eyes. Honestly surprised they did this at all. A little bit impressed. It is kind of it's not a deep cut, but it's a thing that I think people forget happened in, I guess, season 3 of Mighty Morphin. Excuse me. I think it's a thing that people kind of forget. It's one of those weird, Saban era, Zordon era things that happened that really never gets brought up again. So yeah, but it's cool that it came with it, especially for a 2-pack. Obviously, with Kat, they 100% could have done. Now that they're starting to do Turbo with TJ, they could 100% do a 3-pack, I guess, with Turbo Pink Kat. Yeah, that might be a little bit of overkill, but I think it would be kind of neat if they did do maybe exclusive or limited edition or something like that, packs of like a Ranger with all of their appearances and maybe just one head sculpt. So if you just released all three Kat Hillard figures, Mighty Morphin, Zeo, and Turbo, and then, oh man, if you did all of Tommy's, that'd be a huge, huge, huge pack. They'd probably have to do that through HasLab or something like that. But I don't know, or like TJ with Turbo Red and In Space Blue. But I don't know. There's some possibility there. Let's move on to Zeo Pink. I'm gonna kind of blow past the posability because it's literally identical, except there are a few issues that I have. One is this left elbow here. I have to like push back towards the elbow because that pin in there is very thin and starts to weaken and look like it's going to snap. It's fine on the return, but bending it out, when you go to bend it the way that it wants to bend, it's just not very sturdy, and you can see how it's torquing on that pin, and it's not held in very well. The cogs and Tommy don't have that problem. Mighty Morphin Pink and Zeo Yellow also kind of have that problem, but not as bad. Again, you can see a little bit of the color discrepancy in the pinks from the forearm to the upper arm and the torso. I think the forearm is the only spot where Zeo Pink has that color discrepancy, so I'm okay with it. I still think the arms look way too skinny on the female molds for Lightning Collection. I know that that's probably mostly me, but it just looks disproportionate. You have this huge, huge elbow gap here that you just don't see in other figures, and you don't really see in real people. The rest of their proportions are fairly, I think, typical and fine. The helmets obviously always look a little bit big, but I think the helmets look way bigger when you've got these like crazy thin arms that go up to a socket that feels like it should be a full shoulder and arm, and then it's kind of not, and the arm kind of like fully fits inside of the socket to the point where it just looks like it's about to it looks like it's a misplaced, I don't know, it looks like a mismatched figure a little bit. But yeah, posability is completely identical. One weird thing, this is not a QC problem, this is a like source material problem, I think. The boots on the bottom of Zeo Pink are painted black. None of the other Rangers that I have that. Zeo Yellow and Zeo Red don't have black soles on their boots. Mighty Morphin Pink doesn't have black soles on her boots. They all kind of had that in the show. I know sometimes they had white soles on the boots, sometimes they didn't. Kind of depends on the appearance, I guess, and like what, if it's like something, I don't know, Mighty Morphin suits that were remade years later for an anniversary special or a returning character versus the first few seasons of Mighty Morphin. And then obviously Zeo's only appeared a few times, so outside of its own season. I'm sure they do have black soles painted, or black rubber soles on their boots, but it's just weird that this is the only one that has it so far. Head sculpt is really great. Nice silver rim on the black visor. Real nice molding on the kind of circuitry detail. Zeo logo on the belt is really nice. Zeo logo on the holster is really nice. Molding all around. Same with red and yellow, obviously. Now let's check the human head mold. Woo! Ha. Hurts to do every time. So, a different head sculpt. Ever so slightly different head sculpt. Not sure if it's meant to look like a slightly older, like a year or two older cat, but a little bit more of a serious face and a ponytail with a little pink scrunchie up at the top. Pretty solid head sculpting. They got the hair, again, really well, I think. It's the same kind of tone and color as the other mold, so that works out really well. And then, let's see if I can... There we go. Posability and stuff all the same. The ball joint on the head for Zeo is actually a little bit tighter. It is harder to kind of turn and pose side to side, and has less movement up and down. Also, I'm not 100% sure if it's just the Zeo, but looks a little bit like the ball is like positioned too far back, and I can't tell if that's it's not something to do with how I put it on, but it just feels like the face is leaning too far forward and she ends up looking a little hunched. Again, I won't be displaying her with the human head on because I have all of the Rangers with their helmets, but it is a little unfortunate that it kind of ends up looking a little goofy to me. And I actually think that this head sculpt looks a tad bit younger than the other one, and I don't really know why. I think maybe it's just the ponytail, but it does look a little bit odd. And I don't remember if she had a ponytail more in Zeo or in Mighty Morphin, but either way. Accessories for Zeo. Got the little blaster, same as the other two, and the blast effect works, kind of. There we go. Blast effect works. So now we have a blue, and I think 2 green. I think I have another green like this, maybe, that came with Zeo Yellow. I am already forgetting what blast effect came with who. But yeah, I know Tommy came with a blue blast effect. So that's cool. Again, fits in the holster. I do think that the Zeo blasters fit better in the holsters than the Blade blasters. But even then, they still stick out a little bit much for me. The trigger doesn't fit quite in there, but that's okay. I will probably not be displaying her with that. Sword, same as the last two. No new paint apps or anything like that. Still doesn't come with the holstered version of the saber, so if you're gonna holster it in there, it's gonna stick out along her leg the whole way and look a little awkward and make posing kind of tricky, and it's gonna kind of like shove up into her armpit and be a little weird. So I don't display her like that, but that is, again, just me. Hands, the other fist and the other karate chop hand, again interchangeable. She's holding the holding hands. And the shield, again, this is designed to be turned into the combined power weapon, so it has a peg on the bottom here that's like a little 2mm peg, and then that flips over, so I guess, like, in theory she could hold it in her hand. She doesn't like to, but she can. And then you can also clip it with the little clip onto her wrist if I can manage it. I feel like this shouldn't be that complicated, and I'm making it complicated somehow. Ooh, if anything's going to cause paint rub, it's going to be this. Ah, there we go. Okay, well, that's a really sturdy... That's a sturdy clip on there. I'm actually... Yeah, I mean, I dig it. It's a tight grip. Yeah, I don't know if I'll display her with the shield or not, but doesn't look bad. It is a tiny shield, but that is the way that it was in the show, and also the actual toy, if you got the combining toy of the Zeo combined weapons, is also like incredibly small, as they always were. This purple blast effect that I was curious about in the box is a blast effect with a little tab here that goes onto the curved inset bit of the shield and is meant to look like she's deflecting a blast. I dig it. Obviously, it kind of sucks that it has to go on the outside, but there's not a good way to put it on the inside without gumming up where the Zeo logo is. And I do love that the Zeo logo and little circuitry bit there is so clean and clear. That is one feature with the Zeo ones that I think really stand out opposed to any of the other ones, is that they have that kind of circuitry and the Zeo logo with the 5 shapes just looks really awesome and stands out to me personally. So yeah, that's really kind of it. I'm excited to have now 3 of the 6 Zeo Rangers. I'm still kind of eyeballing green and blue and gold to see when they pop up either on sale or at a local shop like the Retro Zone, where I can just see it and snag it, because if I do see it on the shelf, I'm way more likely to snag it than if I'm going to order it online. So far, I've not ordered any of these guys online other than Finster, so I'm still on the edge. I am super hopeful that we get in the Lightning Collection either a Machine Empire monster or one of the big bads. I'd love to get like Clank and Orbis. I think would be a great Lightning Collection edition, because they're really dynamic and they would look really good with the COG 2-pack. I've already got TJ and a couple other guys saying that I need to get another COG 2-pack just to have a huge army builder on the shelf. I don't know if I have room for that, and I don't know if it's necessary, but I do think I will eventually be completing the Zeo set, and I think Mighty Morphin Pink is just kind of like gonna hang out on the shelf, and maybe I will get a Mighty Morphin Green or White to hang out with her, so that I have a Tommy and a Kat that can hang out, other than the red and pink Zeo Rangers that can hang out. So yeah, I'm really enjoying messing around with these Lightning Collection figures. Again, only slight discrepancies for what I'm doing with these guys. Like, they're going to sit on a shelf for the most part. I'm going to change their posability and stuff every now and then, change their display. But, they're not going to go anywhere. I'm not playing with them constantly. If I was going to get a Lightning Collection figure for a child that's going to like play with them and be a little more rough, I probably wouldn't get one of these. Obviously, I wouldn't get this 2-pack set, I think, because of the added cost and the just amount of accessories, but also the fragility in the arms specifically and in the legs. I would be way worried about a younger kid getting a hold of these and snapping an arm off or something like that. And I'm not 100% sure how receptive Hasbro will be to normal wear and tear like that, or quote-unquote normal wear and tear like that, versus getting like the wrong head in the package, or the wrong helmet, or the boots are painted the wrong color or something like that. Because I have seen them be responsive to that, and I know they're trying to be better about that, but I'm not 100% sure if these are as child-friendly as some of the other figures that I've gotten. Honestly, the COG 2-pack, I think, is the more durable figure 2-pack, which is, I'm sure, 100% because they're identical figures with different paint. But, yeah, that's all I've got, really, for this one. I don't have another review lined up for after this one. Again, I wasn't expecting to get these guys, as I usually am not expecting to get something. I do have some things on pre-order, but they will probably not be here until late in the summer or early next fall. So probably don't keep an eye out for that, but you never know. Got some Super 7 stuff on the way, and I will probably not do any Gunpla builds on this channel, but you never know. Keep an eye out on Instagram over at Casey Camcorder. You can keep an eye on my Gunpla builds and stuff like that there. And also all the stuff with my Apple II computer that I'm messing around with. I do have some software coming in for that I'll be talking about on Instagram. So until then, you can find me and everything that I do over at projectlouder.net. Check out all the fun podcasts that I've been on, like Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Rewatch podcast with my co-host TJ. And of course, all of the other shows on the network, like Lights, Camera, Exploitation, Hypodermic, and all sorts of stuff that cover movies, television, horror, ghost hunting, comics, just about anything you can get your mind around, we are covering over at projectlouder.net. So thank you guys. You can find me at Big Bad Beetle Bros Pod on Facebook and Instagram, and then Beetle Bros Pod on Twitter, and then Stronger Than Before podcast on Facebook and Instagram. We don't update that super frequently, but if you're looking for some fun memes or anything, you can always find us there. So, hope to see you guys again with whatever my next review ends up being. So, thank you guys, and see you next time.